Good morning, world. It is 2:33 in the morning. So to all you guys on the other side of the world, you guys are all awake. Obviously, you guys are all waking up, or you're awake right now. And all you guys on my side of the world are sleeping. The ones on the west coast of Canada and the states, you guys are all sleeping. It's only like 12 o'clock, 11 o'clock in the morning at night, 12 o'clock midnight around there. I told you, chances are a lot of Hollywood celebrities they struggle sleeping because they have crazy schedules. They have crazy schedules and they're dirty slaves. Hence why some of them struggle to sleep sometimes. Obviously, most of them probably have pretty decent sleeps. Obviously, but some of them probably stay up and they watch my videos. Obviously, so all you guys who are nighters and you stay up, obviously you watch my videos. You'll enjoy my video in a couple hours from now. The internet cord's here, guys. My step parents are not taking away the internet cord anymore. It's been a what? An ongoing what? It's been ongoing for the past like 13 years of my life. They take away the cord for 1 month. Never have they taken away the cord for 3 months. The most they ever took away the cord for was maybe a month, and they leave the cord. But this year they took away the cord for like 3 months straight. But now they're not taking away the cord, and you guys will be able to watch my video in a couple hours from now. Enjoy my amazing video, obviously. You better enjoy my series while you can, obviously. And I'm happy because I got my check. Rad Brad's Last of Us Part 1 walkthrough was released today. Like I said, obviously. Yeah, Rad Brad gets early hookups, obviously. And he released the game like a couple days before the official release. When I watched his video today, very interesting game, obviously. He only had 300,000 views in like 12 hours. And he hit like 25,000 likes. Guys, I'm going to keep saying this. All you Rad Brad fans. I'm talking to the fans. So all the people around the world who are not interested in watching games. I'm not talking to you guys. I'm talking to Rad Brad's 13 million fans. If you guys want Rad Brad to do the full series, you got to show him some love. Otherwise, he won't do the full series, guys. It's not hard. Just at least like the video, man, and watch a good 20 minutes of his video. That way he pumps out more videos for you. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? All you Rad Brad fans, show him some love, like his video, have his video hit maybe a good 800,000, 700,000, a million views in one day. And he said, Rad Brad said in his video, if you hit 50,000 plus likes, he'll most likely do a full series. Yes. Show the guys some love. Let's reach that goal of 50,000, even 100,000 views, 100,000 likes. 50,000 is good enough. Try to have, right, like Rad Brad's video and have him hit a good 50,000 plus likes and have him hit like a million views in like one day, a day and a half. That way he does a full series. If you do that, he might perhaps do a full series. As I watched the Last of Us Part 1 on PS5, and I had an amazing experience, like watching a movie. And in my opinion, I think Last of Us Part 1 is better than Last of Us Part 2. Last of Us Part 2 has a better story, stronger story, obviously. But in terms of the experience, I like Last of Us Part 1 better. Well, you can argue Last of Us Part 1 has a better story than Last of Us Part 2. Because Last of Us Part 2 was amazing, but the only thing I don't like about Last of Us Part 2 is that spoilers. I'm giving a spoiler, guys. If you don't want to hear this spoilers, guys, I'm going to say this real quick. Skip the video to a good minute, 2-3 minutes from now. Joel dies in Last of Us Part 2. I spoiled it for you guys. Joel dies in Last of Us Part 2. And you play as Ellie in Last of Us Part 2. And you play as Abby, you get both sides of their story. Obviously, it's an amazing masterpiece of a story. Obviously, but I don't like Last of Us Part 2 as much as Last of Us Part 1 because Last of Us Part 1 you play as Joel, in Last of Us Part 2 you play as Abby and Ellie, pretty much, right? And a lot of Ellie's friends die, and a lot of Abby's friends you just have a bunch of people dying in Last of Us Part 2. It's a crazier story, obviously, but I personally prefer Last of Us Part 1 a little bit better than Last of Us Part 2. They're kind of tied. But I like Last of Us Part 1 a little bit better because you play as Joel and you have that story with Ellie. Joel meets Ellie for the first time, and you know what I'm saying? Because Joel had a daughter named Sarah in the beginning of the prologue, and spoiler alert, skip the video if you don't want to hear this part. Sarah, Joel's daughter, dies in the prologue of Last of Us Part 1, and then he ends up meeting Ellie, and he pretty much takes in he sees. My theory is Joel sees Ellie as his daughter pretty much. You know what I'm saying? Ellie is like the daughter that Joel lost pretty much in the beginning of the prologue. Sarah, yeah, yeah, obviously. And in Last of Us Part Two, Joel dies. Really, Ivan? Yeah, man. Joel dies in Last of Us Part Two. If you don't want to hear the spoilers, skip it. Obviously, hence why I like Last of Us Part One a little bit better. And I wrote a comment on Rad Brad's wall, on Rad Brad's channel. I'm like, hey, Rad, do you like Last of Us Part 1 better or Last of Us Part 2? Somebody tells me Rad Brad likes Last of Us Part 1 better. Because you play as Joel, man. You know what I'm saying? And in Last of Us Part 1, you don't have a bunch of people dying. Whereas Last of Us Part 2, even though it has an amazing story, it's serious shit, man. A lot of people die in it. And it's crazy, man. Yeah, you have Abby's friends die, Ellie's friends die. You know, it's just a crazy story, yeah. But Last of Us Part 1 was Game of the Year in 2013, and Last of Us Part 2 was Game of the Year in 2020, yeah. Because Last of Us is a masterpiece of a game. In my opinion, Last of Us is probably the best game ever, man. Best game ever, to be honest. Ivan, what would you say are your top? Okay, the top, in terms of watching Last of Us Part 1, The Walking Dead, Telltale series, Detroit Becoming Human, Red Dead Redemption, Spider-Man, God of War's up there. Those movies are probably the top movies Rabbi play on his channel, in my opinion. And you have other games that he played too there. But God of War, the first one was pretty good, but I didn't like it as much. I had a better experience watching Detroit Becoming Human than God of War. And I liked Spider-Man better than God of War. But God of War, I think, was Game of the Year in 2018. And God of War Ragnarok is coming out in November this year. And Rabbi will be covering that on his channel. You see what I'm saying? But I'm talking about The Last of Us 1, guys. If you want, all you Rad Brad fans, if you want Rad Brad to do the full series on the remastered PS5, better experience, obviously, you need to show the guy some love. That way he does the whole series. Have him try to have him hit a good million views in a good day. In a good 2 days, try to have Rad Brad hit a million views and like a good 50,000 plus likes, like he said in his video, obviously. And then for his other videos, have him try to have him get a couple 100,000 views, a good 300, 400, 5,000 views, and a good 10,000 likes. That way he does the full series. If you show him love, he might perhaps do the whole series, guys. And I'll be excited because even though the Last of Us Part 1 was amazing on Rabbit's channel 9 years ago, it was on PS3. It wasn't as good of an experience. Whereas on PS5, it looks much better. And show Rabbit some love if you want him to do a full series. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. Obviously. Show Rad Brad some love. Yeah, and today I'm happy because I got my nice $676. And I heard my younger stepbrother told me, my stepmother told my younger stepbrother that once a year I get 3 times the amount I make in 1 month. So perhaps next month or November I might get my 18 once a year. I might get my $2,000 check for once every year. Only once a month for every year I get that. I get like an $1,800, $2,000 check. Perhaps I'm gonna have to call the people tomorrow. I'm gonna have to figure some things out with those guys. Hey, am I gonna get my $2,000 check like once a year? Yeah, Ivan, you'll get your $2,000 check once a year, and then for the other months you get your $676. Yeah, and an $1,800 check is nice for a guy who doesn't pay rent, and what, and we'll see what happens. My step parents locked the doors on me. I don't know what happened, but we'll see what happens. I'm gonna have to give the welfare guys a call tomorrow. Today I'll give them a call. Hey, am I gonna get? Yeah, Ivan, you'll get your once a month every year. You get your like $2,000 check every for that 1 month, and then the rest of the months like you get your 676. I might call the guys and ask if they can raise the amount, man, to maybe set back to 750 because they reduced my amount by 100. It pisses me off. Hey, can you raise my amount back to 750, $800 a month? That way I have more money for myself. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Obviously. See what I'm saying? Anyways, enough of when we talk about Rad Brad. Obviously, I'm going to talk about my Zanus project. You saw my videos, Ivan. That was your idea for Star Wars. Yeah, I had some ideas for Star Wars. That was my idea for Star Wars, obviously. But at the end of the day, I'm just giving you my ideas. The Star Wars sequels already happened. You know what I'm saying? Last Jedi got released, and yeah, Last Jedi got released, and I'm saying J.J. Abrams, Rian Johnson. Disney chose J.J. Abrams, Rian Johnson to do the sequels. The sequel's already done. It's too late now. Yes, the thing was a mess, but it's too late. You can't go back from it. Obviously, even though you can hate on the sequels all you want, the sequels were still successful financially. They all made $1 billion+. They were still successful, obviously. And Rian Johnson, even though the fans hate Rian Johnson because of what he did for Last Jedi, only half the fans hate it. The other half love it, obviously. And Last Jedi was still a success. It did like $1.3 billion in the box office. So Rian Johnson doesn't care what the fans think. Yeah, you can hate on me all you want. Half my fans love my movie. He said in his video he wants to make a movie where half the fans love it, half the fans hate it. Yeah, he did that for Last Jedi. He doesn't care, obviously. Yeah, even though you can hate on me all you want, my movie did $1.3 billion. Yeah, his movie did $1.3 billion. It was a success, obviously, and half the fans love his movie, obviously, since Rian Johnson doesn't care, obviously. Rian Johnson obviously doesn't think he made a mistake. Because his movie was still a success, I'm saying, but half the fans hate it, I'm saying. Hate the movie, obviously. I'm saying, yeah. And in my opinion, Rian Johnson is one of the most talented writers out there in Hollywood. The guy is a talented writer. He just wasn't a good Star Wars guy, you see what I'm saying? As you can tell when you watch Last Jedi, it's the best written of the three movies. Like, yeah, Rian Johnson knows how to tell a good story, but he doesn't know how to tell a good Star Wars story. You see what I'm saying? Because Last Jedi had the best writing out of the three movies. And there's a reason why Rian Johnson signed his $500 million deal for what? With Netflix, because he's talented, man. The guy knows how knows how to write good screenplay, obviously. He just wasn't good for Star Wars. You see what I'm saying? Don't hate me, Rian Johnson. In my opinion, this is my personal opinion. Rian Johnson always disagrees with me. But in my opinion, Rian Johnson was not the right man for Star Wars. He split the fan base, man. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Anyways, let me talk about Zanus here. Okay. Here's the thing, though. Now that I think about it, now that I know I'm going to make tens of billions on my book, I could raise the budget amount for Zanus. I can make it for even more if I want. I can put even maybe $600 million towards special effects if I want. I can do that. No, I'm not going to do that. 985 is more than enough. I'm not going to put any more than 985, but I can easily put a good like $1.4 billion towards Zanus. And put like an extra 300 million. The special effects people will tell me, Ivan, you don't need to put 600 million towards special effects. That's too much money. $420 million is more than, yeah, $420 million is more than enough. I'm not going to make Zanus for $1.4 billion. No, 985 is more. People will be like, Ivan, 985 is more than enough, Ivan. $400 million for special effects is too much money, Ivan. In Hollywood, they only put like 25, 30 million for special effects, Ivan. You're putting 400 million, yeah, it's more than enough. I'm not going to raise the amount. 95 is good enough. I might maybe raise it maybe by an extra 10. I might maybe make it for maybe 995 perhaps. But I'm sticking to 985 for the budget for Zanus. See what I'm saying? I'm sticking to 985 for the budget for Zanus. That's a good amount of money, obviously. Even Weta Digital will tell me, Ivan, not 420 million, 30 million towards special effects is more than enough, Ivan. It's people like, Ivan, that's more than enough. 30 million towards set building, 37 towards special effects, it's more than enough. Yeah, man, it's more than enough. It's more than enough, it's too much money. Like, the special effects people, when they work on a movie, they have so much money to play around with, man. Ivan, it's too much money, man. For Lord of the Rings, you only put like 30 million towards special effects, and you got a movie like that, yeah. And for your movie, you're putting $400 million. That's a lot of money, Ivan. Yeah, that's why you're looking at Demons and Devils. Action sequences better than even Helm's Deep. Think of that. And world building better than even Pandora, Avatar, and Peter Jackson's Middle Earth. When I say my movie will blow Lord of the Rings out of the water, I'm talking about technology. In terms of story, it'll be close, obviously, but Zanus will take it out by some margin. But in terms of technology, it'll blow Lord of the Rings out of the water. And don't forget, Lord of the Rings was made in the early 2000s, and technology was not as good back then compared to now. And yet, I'm putting all the money towards Zanus in the 2020s, and you can only imagine the technology you're getting for Zanus. Look at something unheard of, better than even Avatar Pandora, man. Yeah, except the world looks more natural. It looks very amazing, but it looks more natural. Whereas Pandora looked way too computery. Peter would be like, Ivan, are you saying you want your world to look very natural? No, Peter. I want the balance of CGI and practical effects. I don't want it to look too computer, and I don't want it to look too natural. If you have it look too natural, the movie won't be as good. If you have it look too computer, the movie won't be as good. I want the balance. Okay, Ivan, if you want the balance, you're gonna have to build big sets. Okay, Peter, is $30 million enough? Ivan, that's more than enough. Yeah. For Lord of the Rings, you only had a couple $1 million budget towards sets. And for the Hobbit, we only put like 10 million towards building the sets. $30 million is more than about. Yeah, I can build like a big like 1 acre mountain with like mossy trees, like a 1 acre 0.9 acre forest, a 1.5 acre city of Zanus, and a 0.8 acre city of Saphius. Something crazy, yeah. 1.5 acre of Barak. Yeah, man. Something unheard of. A 1 acre city of the ancient Gilead city. Yeah. People are like, Ivan, you're looking at something better than even my Moria and fucking Fellowship of the Ring. You're building a big, like, for the Fellowship of the Ring, we built these cheap sets, and you got a world like that for my movie, for Moria. And you're building like a 0.8 acre set for the ancient city. Look at something unheard of, Ivan, yeah. They build this big city, and you have the blue screen greasy, and the world looks amazing, yeah, man. That's why Zanus will be the best movie trilogy ever made, man, yeah, man. Last War of Zanus is gonna set the bar for trilogies, for fantasy movies, man. It's gonna set the bar for fantasy movies. You're looking at unheard technology for world building, action scenes, and the horror of the demon wolves and bats. This has been crazy, yeah, man. Ivan, you sound excited. Yes, of course I'm excited. As the main reason why I want to start Sky Source is because I want to turn my book into an adaptation, obviously, into a movie, obviously. At the same time, I also want to be a movie star. I now realize, yeah, my dream, yeah, the one profession I want to do is be a famous movie star, and fund the movies myself with my own money. Yeah, me and VJ can fund the movie ourselves with our own money. Yeah, man, we're gonna be famous movie stars, me and VJ. But VJ will not be the star of Zanus, obviously. She'll be my co-star. She'll be a major character, obviously. You know what I'm saying? But she's not the main character. I'm gonna be the main character, the main show in Zanus. But VJ will be a co-star. Whereas all my other movies, me and VJ are the stars of the movie, pretty much. Yeah. Some Zara. So let's talk about Zanus here. I'm gonna go back to talking about Zanus. Ivan, you're not gonna build your theory chain, Ivan. Chances are, guys, I'm not gonna build it. It's too much work, and me and VJ don't need the extra 50 million. Peter's like, Ivan, you're crazy. You'll make an extra like 50 billion bucks for yourself. And I'm like, Peter, I don't need this extra money. Yeah, but Ivan, like, you're turning down an opportunity for the world to see your movie on IMAX. Yeah, Peter. Even though seeing it in the theaters is cool, I'd rather just see it at home with my wife and my private IMAX theater at home. I don't need to build a theater. Yeah, Ivan, you're right. Yeah, I'd rather for the premiere. I just want to do the 2-day party, host a red carpet event, and you release the movie for the world to buy, and then everyone can just watch it at home with their families. It's better that way, in my opinion. Seeing it in theaters is obviously better. It's cooler, obviously, but I'm not going to build that theater chain, guys. High chance I will not. I might perhaps build it, but high chance I will not build it. I'm just going to stick to my private IMAX theater at home. I'm going to get the IMAX experience at home with my wife when I watch Last of Us Zanus, and Peter Jackson can put money into an IMAX theater at his house. He's loaded. He's going to make his, like, I don't know, $450 million for my movie. He can easily put $1 million to $1.5 million of his money into a private IMAX theater at his house. Put a good 6 seats in there, 7, 10 seats in there. He can have his wife and his kids and his grandkids. By then he'll have grandkids most likely. They can watch the movie with him at their house. Yeah, in his house, yeah. See what I'm saying? And trust me, once Peter Jackson reads my book, and Mel Gibson reads my book, he's gonna want to get his hands on my soul. Man, I want to get my hands on this story so bad, yeah. Even guys like Christopher Nolan, Quentin Tarantino, Steven Spielberg, Martin Scorsese, I'm butchering his name, obviously. All these big directors in Hollywood, Ridley Scott, they're all going to want to get their hands on my story. But I told you, they're not good for Zanus. You see what I'm saying? Peter Jackson is the best man for Zanus. Him and Mel Gibson. But Peter Jackson is probably the better man because he's a fantasy guy, man. He's a fantasy director. He did The Hobbit, he did Lord of the Rings, he did King Kong. King Kong is kind of fantasy too, right? Yeah, you have the fantasy world of Skull Island, and King Kong. Kong is a king of the island. He's a king, the king ape of the island. Yeah. See what I'm saying? They're gonna want to get their hands on my story so bad. Hence why the gatekeepers, they want me to sell to them because they want to take all my money, obviously. And you know what I'm saying, if I sold out, the Hollywood will adapt my movie to the big screen, obviously, but they would probably put maybe $350 million towards Zanus. And they'd probably have Airtap be a PG-13 wolf. The movie will still be a masterpiece, obviously, but it won't be as good as the movie I would adapt because I'm pouring more money into the movie. I know what's best for my movie more than the Hollywood execs. You see what I'm saying? Because I wrote the story. I know what's best for my movie more than those guys. You see what I'm saying? Yeah, and last over Zanus will be the biggest IP in the entertainment industry. It'll be even bigger than Star Wars, guys. Star Wars is big, and it's not, but it's not as big as Zanus, man. As the total sales for all the Star Wars for the Star Wars brands probably maybe 20-30 billion dollars over the past 50 years, and yet for my book alone, you're looking at like $50 billion in sales, 60 billion in sales. Yeah, I'm gonna make a nice like 15, 10, $19 billion on my book. Yeah, my book, the Zanus brand will be bigger than even Star Wars. You know what I'm saying? In other words, even guys like Star Wars Theory, John Campion, Robert Renett, they're all fans of all these different IPs like Marvel, Star Wars, or the Rings, obviously. But once I release my book, they're going to become even crazier fans, Last of Us fans. Star Wars Theory loves Star Wars. He's a Star Wars nerd. Neil Tooth, right? He's a Star Wars nerd. And yet, even he once he reads my book, he'll become an even bigger fan for Zanus than even his Star Wars. Yeah, even though I love Star Wars, Zanus is number one for me. I like Zanus better than fucking Star Wars. Yes, Zanus will be bigger than Star Wars. Yeah, bigger than Marvel. Yeah, man. It'll be big, obviously. Some singer. It'll be bigger. Yeah, man. It'll be bigger. Right? Yeah. So let's talk contracts. So Mel Gibson, I'm willing to pay him. If I choose him, I'll pay him $56 million. High chance I will choose Peter over him. Don't hate me, Mel, because I think Peter did fantasy and he knows all Lord of the Rings guys. That's why I might choose Peter over him. But I might choose Mel Gibson over Peter. You never know. They already know. They can see the future. I'll pay Mel $56 million, and I'll give him 0.5% of the profits, which is a good, I don't know, $270 million in royalties. Mel Gibson signed like his 300, like $20 million, $30 million deal around there. Whereas Peter signed like his 450, $500 million deal. So I'm saying, so I'll pay Mel $56 million. He gets his $2,000 gift card. He gets his $3,500 card for gas, obviously. And I'll have Peter do 2 commercials for my company. I'll pay him $60,000 worth of commercial money. He also gets his speaking fee earnings. And chances are the actors and Peter Jackson or Mel Gibson, all of them, are going to make a nice like $200,000 in speaking fees. Perhaps even more, perhaps even $300,000. It just depends how much places I get invited to speak at. And because I'm not greedy like Peter and all them, and I'm willing to give the actors a nice piece of the profits, a nice piece of the pie, obviously. So if I speak at a venue of like 80,000 people, I'll charge the venue a good $250,000 to speak around there. It just depends how much money the organizers charge the fans. Look, man, I'm gonna ask them, how much are you charging the 80,000 fans? Ivan, we're gonna charge $10. Okay, if you charge $10, I'll charge you $250K. If you charge 20, I'm gonna charge you like $500,000-$600,000. But chances are they're gonna charge maybe the people around $10. Okay, if you charge them $10, that's what? That's $800,000 you're gonna make. I want a nice $250,000 of that. You're making money off my success. I want $250,000. Oh, I won't got you pay $250K. Yeah, if I make $250K, me and Vijay take $100K for ourselves, and then the $150K is split with the actors. So if there's 16 people, the actors get a nice $9,000. The actors and Peter Jackson get a nice $9,000 check. Because Peter's greedy, he might ask for a bigger chunk of the pie. I'm like, Peter, no. Peter, you get the same amount of money as the actors. I'm not gonna pay you I'm not gonna give you like $20,000 for one event. No, man. Like you get if I make $250K, you're gonna make your $9,000 with the other actors. I'm not gonna pay you more. No, you guys all get an equal amount. That way, there's no resentment among the actors. And even though I'm making much more than the actors won't be mad. Yeah, even though Ivan's greedy, he gave us a nice piece of the pie. Yeah, he took home $100K for himself, and he gave us one. He split $150K with all of us. Yeah, and the actors all got a nice like $9,000 check in their bank for that one event. Speaking for a good hour and a half, it's a nice paycheck, man. Yeah, it's a nice paycheck. Yeah, man. Nice paycheck, obviously. Right? So that's my deal for Mel Gibson. $56 million salary, 0.5% of the profits, $2,000 gift card, $3,500 gas card, and $60,000 worth of commercial money, and a $2 million for the re-release. That's my deal for Mel Gibson. So he gets his reoccurring $2 million check for all my releases of the Zanus movie. And for Peter Jackson, I'll pay him his $85 million, which is $6 million in his own money. And I'll give him $2,000 gift card, $3,500 gas card, $60,000 worth of commercial money, and he gets his perks, and he gets his $2 million for the release. That's my deal for Peter. Now give him 0.6% of the profits, which is a good $300 to $400 million in royalties. Chances are Peter will make about $350 million around there in royalties. So Peter Jackson signed like his $450 million deal, which is almost double what he made for Lord of the Rings. He's gonna walk away with a nice, I don't know, $270 million check in his bank, Peter, after taxes. It's a lot of money, but because he's greedy, he wants double that. He wants a nice like $400, $500 million. I'm like, Peter, you're being greedy. I'm not gonna pay you that. If Mel wants more, I'm like, Mel, you're being greedy. I'm not gonna pay you more than this. You're being greedy, man. Oh, I haven't. It's a deal. Yeah, I gave you a good fucking deal. But Peter will be like, his agent will be like, Ivan, that's a good deal. That's a good deal for Peter. Like he'll never make his money in Hollywood. Yeah, Peter will never make his kind of money in Hollywood. You know what I'm saying? His agent knows he's gonna walk away with a nice, I don't know. His agent knows he's gonna walk away with a nice like $30+ million check in his bank. Ivan, that's a good deal for me and Peter. I'm gonna walk away with a nice like $35 million in my bank, and Peter's gonna walk away with a nice like $270 million check in his bank after taxes. Yes, where his paycheck's a lot of money. Because Peter's greedy, he knows the amount of money he's making compared to how much Peter making in his pocket. He's gonna want more. I'm like, Peter, you're being greedy. I'm not gonna pay you more, man. You're being greedy, man. It's a good deal. You're not gonna make this money in Hollywood, Peter. And because I paid Peter a lot of money, he'll work even double harder for me than what he even did for Lord of the Rings. Because he knows he's gonna strike it. He's gonna strike it richer, man. Yeah, I'm gonna make a nice like $500 million, $450 million of wide movie. He's gonna work hard, and I paid him his rich $85 million. He'll work harder for me, obviously. Gets his nice $65 million check during production. Money that he did not make for Lord of the Rings. Lord of the Rings, I heard he only made like $10 million for the whole project, and he worked hard. I'm paying him $65 million for production, $10 million bonus after the film is complete, and he gets his $10 million bonus before for pre-production. Yeah. Okay, Peter, for the 3 years of pre-production, you can get your $10 million check, which is like $13 million in New Zealand money. You're going to walk away with like a $7 million check in your bank after taxes. $7 million is a lot of money for 3 years of work. That's a lot of money. He'll work hard. And I'm giving him perks. That's a good deal. Hollywood would never pay me $10 million for pre-production. Yeah, they'd probably pay me like $1 million, $2 million bucks. Yeah. So I'm saying, yeah, I gave him a good, yeah, this is much more money than what I made for Lord of the Rings like 30 years ago. Yeah, it's more money than what we made for Lord of the Rings 30 years ago, Peter. So that's my deal for Peter and Mel. I'll most likely hire Peter over Mel. Don't hate me, Mel. That's my deal for Peter Jackson. He gets his 0.6, his $100 million salary, $106 million salary, and he gets his $2,000 gift card, $300 gas card, $2 million re-release, and he gets his perks and his $2,000 gift card, $300 gas card. Some singer. And he gets his speaking fee earnings. As if I go on the world tour, Peter's gonna make a nice like $200K in speaking fee earnings, which is nice. I'm gonna tell Peter and the actors, look, if I go on the world tour and you guys collect your nice $200,000 in speaking fees, you're gonna have to work this out with your agent. Like, don't come to me, man. So you're gonna have to work this out with your agent. That's why their agents will most likely tell me, Ivan, I'll tell the agents, look, man, if I go on a world tour, yeah, Ivan, if Peter and the actors go on a world tour, I want a nice 10% of that. Because the agents are greedy, obviously. I want 10% of all the actors' earnings. Even their commercial, yes, I want 10% of even the actors' commercial earnings, yeah. If the actors for Zanus and Peter Jackson do commercials, the agents are going to want 10% of that too. Because they're greedy people, obviously. The agent takes 10% of all the actors' earnings, man. And some of the actors might get pissed off about the commercial money and the speaking fee earnings. Fuck, I don't want to give my fucking agent 10% of my money. I don't know, if John Boyega, Vaughn Joyce, Yel Manette, Vigo, Don Cheadle, and like Ariana Grande make like $200K, $250K in speaking earnings, and the agent wants 10%, they might be pissed off. Because they're greedy, obviously. I don't want to give my agent 10%. But look, man, your agent, if your agent wants 10% of the pie, you have to give them 10% of the pie. You have to work this out with your agent. And chances are the venues are gonna pay me and VJ check. They're gonna pay me and VJ check, obviously. They're gonna pay us check, obviously. Yeah. Ivan, how much will the actors make off the speaking fees? The actors are going to make at least $100,000, $150,000 plus off the speaking fee earnings. Because I'm going to charge all the venues, man. If I speak at a good like 50, 60 places, you do the math. The actors are going to make like $150,000 plus in speaking fee earnings. And me and Vijay will make like $800,000 in speaking fee earnings. $1 million. Me and Vijay will make maybe about $1 million around there in speaking fee earnings. Whereas the actors make way less. They make like $150,000 in speaking fee earnings. Me and Vijay are going to be loaded, man. Yeah, cause like yeah, man, I made a lot of money off for Ivan's company, man. Like I made like 200K off speaking fees. You made 200, yeah, man. I made 200K off speaking fees. Yeah, I used the money that I made off the speaking fee earnings and my royalty checks to buy my nice cars, and all this. You know what I'm saying, on my nice clothes, and go on my vacations, obviously, and go to the bar, and all my salary, all the money I made off my salary, I saved a good chunk of that. Yeah, you know, the amount of money the actors make for Zanus is so much that the amount of money they make off their speaking fee earnings and their royalty check, obviously, their commercial money and their what and their what and their merch royalty check obviously is enough for them to get their nice cars, their nice like $70,000 cars, buy their nice clothes and shoes, and go on a one vacation with a girlfriend, wife, husband, family. Yeah, they made a lot of money. Yeah, man. That's why they're gonna beg. Ivan's company blows out of the water. Yeah, in Hollywood they fucking. I don't get shit for fucking speaking. Hollywood covers my feeding and my living, but I don't get shit for fucking speaking. Whereas Ivan gave me a nice piece of the royalties. I made like 250K, 200K in speaking earnings. Yeah. Obviously, that's the difference between me and all these greedy people around the world. Even though I'm greedy, I'm generous. I'm giving the actors a nice piece of the pie for speaking of earnings. So if I make 250K for one event, I take one. Me and Vijay take 100K, and I split the 150K with the actors, and they get their nice $9,000 each. Yeah. So even though I'm greedy, I'm taking most of the money. Don't hate me. I'm the main show. Me and Vijay's the main show. I'm nice to give the actors a nice chunk of the pie. I'm greedy, but I'm generous. I'm not cheap. As a Peter Jackson if Peter Jackson went on a speaking fee tour and he made like 250K, he'd probably give the actors maybe $40,000 of his money. He'd take the rest for himself because he's greedy. I don't know. He might. Yeah, I would give the actors like two. I would take like 220 and give the actors like 30K, and like the actors make like $700 because Peter's greedy. Obviously, he's greedy. You know what I'm saying? Peter's greedy. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So that's my deal for Peter. That's my deal for Mel. If Peter gets greedy and he wants like $1 billion, I'm like, Peter, you're getting greedy. I'm not going to pay you that, man. You're being greedy, man. Let go of your greed, Peter. And so, yeah, but Ivan, you're greedy too. You know, say like you're like because he saw my bills. You're gonna make your tens of billions, and you're giving me peanuts. Yeah, Peter. And the peanuts I'm giving you is money that you don't even make in Hollywood. You'll never make that money in Hollywood. If you sign your 500 million, if you Peter, $400 million in royalties is not enough for you, Ivan. It's not enough. I want like double that, man. I want like $800 million in royalties, Ivan. I'm like, Peter, you're being greedy. I'm not gonna pay that. You're fucking crazy. But you don't sound my deal, Ivan. It's a deal. I'm just being an asshole. I'm being greedy. Yeah, you're being an asshole, Peter. You're being greedy. I'm paying you a lot of money, money that you don't even make in Hollywood. You're just being greedy. Stop thinking about the bigger picture of the amount of money maybe you're gonna make. Just know that the amount of money I'm paying you is more than what Hollywood ever pay you, and you're gonna walk away with almost $300 million in your bank, Peter, after taxes. Your paycheck. It's a lot of money. You're just greedy. You want like double that because you're greedy, Peter. You're not worth it. I'm not gonna pay you that, Peter. You're being greedy. Shut my out of here.